Hey everybody, my name is Claire and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go out to thrift stores or estate sales, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I try to find things that make me happy or that tell me a story, and then I bring them back here and try and figure out everything I can about them and tell you guys about them. So here's what I've got for you today, and it's something really cool. I hope you're gonna like it. It is this. It's actually a twofer. I'll just... There we go. Okay, now this is really... I hope this shows up properly on the camera. All right, these are just amazing pieces of glassware. Now you can see at the bottom a lot of those wear marks. That's kind of the what you call it, the kind of just the wear that you get from kind of moving this across a surface for, you know, decades. Those are very kind of random ones. We can tell that this is old. It's old, it's been used. If I hold it up to the camera, you can see on the edges here that there's quite a bit of damage to it, like on the edges of the cuts and what have you. It's not unusual in a piece that is this old. You guys can get a good look at it. The nice thing about this is that, like, there is no, all the kind of damage that you see here is kind of superficial stuff to the actual, just the edges of the cuts here. There's basically chips taken off the actual cuts into the glassware. There are no cracks or any other major chips. It's all just kind of wear damage like that. This is the Sugarbowl, and this is the creamer. And the creamer, I think, has taken a bit more damage. But they're obviously a set. They obviously go together. You can see there's an example. It's quite a bigger chip there. And underneath, again, you can see that same kind of rough mottling. The lines, essentially, all those kind of like wear marks or knotty marks or whatever, that kind of indicate that this is something that has been, you know, shoved across the table a lot. Okay, so other interesting things about these, I'm gonna measure them up. Sugarbowl, I'd say, is about like, it's maybe 5 inches across. I mean, they're quite short. So it's maybe like 3 inches high. I'd say it's going to be roughly the same here. No, a little, let's say 2.5. And a good bit wider. Let's say, yeah, let's say 6.5 inches across. Okay. So the other thing you want to know about these as well, these are hand blown. Okay, it's actually most obvious if you look at the creamer itself and you look at it straight on. You can see that the spout here, if you look at it in this profile, is just slightly asymmetrical. This side here is a little bit higher than this side here. You can tell as well from looking at the handles. This kind of the actual shape of it before it was cut, this was hand blown, and you can definitely see the handles there. The handle is an applied handle. And funny thing to note, there is what looks to be a slight crack in there, but I cannot tell if that is a manufacturing defect or an actual crack, because both of them have it, and both handles. So it's odd. I'm going to have to say that maybe it's not. Maybe it is just like a thing to do with manufacturing and less so to do with the, you know, actual damage or what have you. But the same thing again, like the bowl itself would have been hand blown before they went ahead and cut it. Now, most important thing, what is this? And there's a story, okay, about this, and it's another one of these kind of happy, kind of like serendipity kind of things. So I just recently got a set of jeweler's loupes. Now the loupes, if you've ever seen, are those tiny little magnifying glasses on like lanyards that you know, antiques experts, like if you ever see them like looking at something close up, they'll, you know, flip open one of these things and hold up the object and kind of peer through it. It's just like your tiny little handheld magnifying glass, which you'll wear around your neck, because if you're doing this kind of thing, you know, it's useful to have. And it was recommended that I get some, and I got a set because I thought, you know, I'm probably going to use them. I think it'll be interesting. And of course, me, Muggins, I decided that I had to go and look at everything I owned with the loupe just to see what it would look like. Now, this set, okay, was one that I bought months ago, before I ever started doing videos, before I ever even like seriously started getting things from thrift stores, okay? I bought this set of a creamer and a sugar bowl solely because I liked it and because I thought it was interesting and possibly antique. And I ended up taking it home and looking it over and realizing it was quite damaged, and or I thought, oh look, it's really chipped and everything like that, and it doesn't look interesting. And you know what? It's probably just from the 70s, and you just wasted your money. I spent $15, Now because they priced it, by the way, at $15, because it's obviously like it's been cut. This isn't pressed glass, and because it's incredibly heavy. Both of these are so heavy. I need to actually go and weigh them, but they're like a prime example of just absolute impracticality in glassware. They're way too heavy for use. The sugar bowl you can get away with, but a creamer is meant to be moved. I cannot get behind any piece of glassware that is meant to be used, but it's too heavy to use. This is the exact same thing as it was with the Anchor Hocking pitcher. Anyway, so I get my loop, all right, and I start looking at everything, all right, and I get to these and I'm like, oh, it's going to be cool. I can take a look at like the cuts, and I'll get to see like the marks that are made by the grinding wheel that we use to make the cuts, and that'll be kind of interesting, won't it? Of course it'll be, Claire, because it turns out these are not from the 1970s. These are from the 1900s or earlier. What I've got here are an example of what's called American Brillian cut or American Brillian period glassware. And this would have been the high-end glassware that would have been made around the 1900s. And it starts from basically from about the 1870s and goes up to about the 1820s. The early stuff will be just like this. It'll be heavy. It'll be hand-blown blanks. The blank, by the way, is the piece before it gets cut. Okay, they call that the blank. So you can have like the same kind of blank, but it'll have different patterns cut into it depending on what the manufacturer wants. So what these are, okay, is a likely pre-1900s set of American Brilliant cut glass. And the reason that I knew this, because I got my loops, is because of the marks. Because the way that they cut glass in the pre-1900 was not the way that they do it now. And you can tell by looking at the cut marks themselves. Now, I actually have photos, sort of. Okay, so I have a macro lens for my camera, which is actually my phone, and I took a picture close up of one of the cuts here in the edge of the sugar bowl. And what you can see looking at this, all right, hopefully it shows up on the camera, okay? Now, this is the edge of the cut, okay? The actual groove itself or whatever. And what you can see, all right, is that it is smooth. The very edge of the cut is almost a little bit beveled, It's smoothed over. You can see that the line is not completely sharp, all right? And the actual cut itself is completely smooth. This is like one of the big kind of indicators of American Brilliant cut glass. Because the way that they made this is that they took like steel grinding wheels or whatever and actually made the cuts, and then they smoothed it out with stuff like stone and wood in order to get that kind of like smooth appearance. Now, modern cut glass doesn't look like that at all. If you actually look at it close up, okay, because modern glass is cut with a diamond cutting wheel, which by the way were invented sometime during World War II. So like if you see marks from a diamond cutting wheel, that's going to be after the Second World War. But you can definitely tell the difference if you have something like a loop and you can see the marks. You'll know stuff that's old simply because a diamond cutting wheel doesn't need to need that smoothing or anything like that. It literally just does a whoop, single pass, and it's done. Okay? And these are not. These were definitely not done with the diamond cutting wheel. And I have more show and tell for you. What I have is this. Now, this is another random piece of cut glassware that I picked up at some point because I'm weird like that, and I just occasionally see things and pick them up, and I just like, oh, that's kind of shiny. And this is another one that I got like months ago as well. And this is actually cut glass from the 1970s. And same thing. I got my magnifying glass. Oh, come on. I got my magnifying glass. And I took a picture of it to show you the marks. Now you can see here, all right, this is the close-up or whatever like that. These are these very, very faint parallel lines running along the cut. And you can see it a little bit easier here or whatever. This is primary sign. If you see those marks, those parallel lines, that's a diamond cutting wheel. That's how we know this is not American Brilliant cut glass. Now, I have another kind of cool demonstration to do for you. And I'll show you, like, this is the thing that got me really excited, because it was a test that I had to do as soon as I thought, oh, these might be ABP glass. I gotta try this. So once again, I have my black light and I gotta switch off the light for this. So let's turn our light on for a second. And I'm gonna just reach over and there we go. Okay, now there's my light, all right? It's so cool. Now, hopefully you can see this on camera, okay? You see that slight pale green color? You can see a little bit easier here when I'm shining through as much of the light as possible. I'm shining through as much of the glass as possible. Yeah, there you go. Now that pale green, that is the fluorescence of ABP glass. Like, and then I'm talking about the proper early stuff. This is like the pre-1900 stuff would have this this fluorescence. It's due to, if I remember correctly, the manganese content in the glass itself. Okay, and this is something peculiar to ABP glass. If you see that fluorescence, it's more, and it's cut and you know, obviously fulfills all the other criteria, it's more than likely ABP. Now, and check this out. If I can get my camera, there we go. Check it out. It's pinky purple. I'm actually gonna put it down to see if I can get a better view of it. No, okay. I'm not good at this. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It doesn't look the same at all. Trying to do this through the camera is tricky. There's a little bit of the difference. There we go. Now, if you see glassware that's fluorescing pink or purple, more than likely it's modern because it doesn't have that manganese content. And now I'm going to try and turn my light back on. And can I? There we go. Right. Okay, playtime over. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can actually tell that something is actually ABP. The interesting one that I've heard, and I'm not sure how accurate it is that if you actually tap it, which I'm obviously not doing right now, if you tap it with your fingernail, there, that's better. It's got this high-pitched ding, as opposed to this, which kind of doesn't have it. I don't know how accurate that is. That just seems a bit, I don't know, airy-fairy. But yeah, I kind of consider it far more kind of conclusive if you have like the proper cuts, and you've also got, get that away, and you've also got the proper fluorescence. So there you go. And this is for something that I was planning to give away to a thrift store because I thought I just wasted my money with it. I'm so happy that I found it. And to be honest, I have now no idea what to do with these because they're too heavy to ship. Like, I like them. I think I'm probably just going to keep them because I can't imagine who will really buy them. The ABP glass used to be really collectible. It's kind of not really anymore. It's less popular than it used to be. So for two pieces that are quite as damaged as this, I'm not sure anyone's going to want them at any price. I will probably keep them. I don't know. Maybe we'll sell them. I don't know yet. Probably not though, because the shipping costs on these two weighty pieces is going to be ridiculous. So anyway, this is my small joyful thing for today. I hope you like it. I think they're very sparkly. Thank you very much for watching.